This is the third section of phase control rectifier. Here we will take the topics of two pulse converter. We have two types of two pulse converter. First one is full converter, single phase full converter, and single phase semi converter. Single phase full wave rectifier, we have two configuration. First one is bridge rectifier and midpoint rectifier is the second one. In bridge rectifier we use 4 thyristor to get the rectified output from the AC voltage source, and in midpoint rectifier we use 2 thyristors and a transformer to convert our AC to DC. Here, as the name suggests, two pulse converter. So in a complete cycle of a sinusoidal wave which is of time period 20 millisecond, one half cycle of 10 millisecond. So we have one positive half cycle of 10 millisecond and one negative half cycle of 10 millisecond. So one positive half cycle will be come at the output, and negative cycle we reverse it and it will get at the output side. So this is the working of two types of single phase rectifier two pulse converters. This is the sinusoidal waveform. As you know, the total time period is 20 millisecond, because generally we are considering frequency of the sinusoidal wave as 50 hertz. So for a 50 hertz, one cycle is 20 millisecond. One half cycle is of 10 millisecond. This half cycle we can control by using the gate pulse. When we apply our gate pulse, thyristor will be turned on at this instant and it will turn off at natural current zero position. So no need of commutation is required in rectifiers. In positive half cycle V output equal to Vs, and in negative half cycle V output equal to minus of Vs. So when Vs is negative cycle, so V output is minus of Vs, so it will come out as positive cycle. So V output have same polarity through all complete cycle. So we can say that it works as a DC output. From AC input source we get the DC output because polarity is not changing in a complete cycle. In bridge rectifier, for positive half cycle T1 and T2 will be working, and in negative half cycle T3 and T4 will be turned on. In midpoint T1 will be turned on for positive half cycle and T2 for negative half cycle. This is the current waveform for resistive load. So for resistive load, the waveform of voltage and current are similar, but the magnitude of current will differ by this. The voltage current magnitude is voltage divided by resistance. This is the circuit turn off time. As we all know that circuit turn off time is the time we have to apply the reverse bias so that our thyristor will achieve the good commutation process, or there is no false triggering. Here omega tc circuit turn off time is pi radians for single phase half full wave rectifier. This is for bridge and this is for midpoint single phase full wave rectifier. So for a complete cycle of sinusoidal wave we get two half waves. So here the output frequency is doubled. We output have two times of frequency from the input sinusoidal wave. So here we will take the time period of pi radians to get the average output voltage. So V output is 1 upon pi, integrate from alpha to pi, and V output is Vs for half wave, positive half cycle, Vm sin omega t. So integrate this, we get V output equal to Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. For single phase half wave, we have Vm by 2 pi 1 plus cos alpha. Here Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. Average output is this. So RMS output we can also find from the general formula, Vm by root 2 into time period, upper minus lower plus half to lower and whole 1 by 2, by putting the values of upper and lower limit. Here upper limit is pi and lower limit is alpha, and time period is pi radians. So by using formula we can achieve output RMS voltage. Now for resistive load, power factor is V output RMS divided by V source RMS. So by dividing the Vm by root 2 in this V output RMS, we get the power factor. For midpoint rectifier, peak inverse voltage is 2 Vm, and for bridge rectifier it is Vm. Peak inverse voltage, I told you in previous videos, it is the maximum voltage which reverse biases the thyristor when it turn off. So due to higher value of peak inverse voltage in midpoint rectifier, bridge rectifier is mostly used. Here bridge rectifier with resistive and inductive load, single phase fully controlled rectifier varying the load parameters. Here inductance is also included. Here the circuit turn off time is reduced to 2 pi minus beta. In previous it was pi radians, but here 2 pi minus beta. How we will see in the graph waveforms. Like in single phase half wave rectifier, in single phase full converter also, due to inductance there is a presence of negative spikes in voltages. So voltage is not rectified. We can say that voltage magnitude for some instant changes to negative value, but the average voltage always become positive. So we can assume here that the DC part of the average output voltage always positive. Here the current I0 is not following the V output behavior. It is charging when voltage is positive and discharge when output voltage is negative due to the presence of inductance. The discharging time of current is known as extinction time. From pi to beta, it will discharge like in half wave rectifier. V output, average output voltage, can be derived by using formula 1 by time period. Here time period is also pi, and integrate from alpha to beta. Here lower limit is alpha, upper limit is beta. So V output is Vm by pi cos alpha minus cos beta. We can get this formula by using the general expression Vm by root 2 into time period, upper minus lower plus half, 2 lower minus 2 upper, power 1 by 2. In previous resistive load, we have seen that circuit turn off time we have taken from pi to 2 pi, but here due to inductance, thyristor is not turned off up to beta. So at beta thyristor is turned off, so we will take the circuit turn off time from beta to 2 pi. So circuit turn off time is here is omega tc equal to 2 pi minus beta. In this diagram we can see that current I output discharge, inductance is discharge at beta, which is less than pi plus alpha. So in the negative cycle, when thyristor T3 T4 in bridge converter are triggered, before that if inductor is discharged, so we get the discontinuous conduction. It means current will be zero at certain time. If the discharging time we can increase the discharging time of inductance, we can get the continuous conduction if our beta is greater than pi plus alpha. So for discontinuous conduction, beta should be less than pi plus alpha. What are the reasons that beta is less? Because for the small value of inductance, time constant is less and beta is small. We have time constant equal to L by R. So less value of inductance, time constant is also less. Alpha is more, beta is less, then also there is a cause of discontinuous conduction. And if the average output current is less than beta, there is also possibility of discontinuous conduction. So what we have to do for the continuous conduction? Beta should be greater than equal to pi plus alpha. How we can achieve this? By increasing the inductance, time constant will increase and beta will also increase. We have to reduce the alpha, so triggering will be as much as possible. We have to use alpha less than beta. So and magnitude of current, average output current is also increased to get the continuous conduction. This is the output voltage waveform for continuous conduction. So there is no condition where V output is 0 at any instant. Instantly from when T1 T2 turn off, at this time T3 T4 will be turned on, and when T3 T4 turned off, suddenly T1 T2 will be turned on. Average output current is this is the average output current, charging and discharging, but there is a continuous flow of current as we can observe. For high value of inductance, we get I naught as ripple free current, constant load current. For this constant load current, the positive group thyristor, which are responsible to get the positive waveform at the load side, this is the waveform of thyristor current. So thyristor current will be visible from alpha to pi plus alpha in thyristor T1 in midpoint rectifier. This is the circuit turn of time from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, as it was observed from beta to 2 pi, but here beta is equal to pi plus alpha, so it is from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, and circuit term of time is equal to pi minus alpha by omega. This is the source current waveform. Here the source current is combination of two waveforms of positive group thyristor and negative group thyristors. So in single phase full wave rectifier, the problem what we have observed in single phase half wave rectifier, that the transformer core is saturated due to source current. Here we can achieve the rectification of that problem. We get the average output voltage from integrating alpha to 2 pi plus alpha, and we get the output voltage, average voltage as 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. Average RMS, output RMS is Vm by root 2. We can obtain by using the general formula Vm by root 2 into time period, upper limit minus lower limit plus half of 2 lower minus 2 upper whole to the power 1 by 2. Here source current RMS is equal to load current RMS. For highly inductive load, we have I naught is constant, and we assume that this constant current in positive half cycle flow from positive group of thyristors, and in negative half cycle it flow from negative group of thyristors. So conduction angle of each thyristor is pi radian for every cycle. So the average value of thyristor current is I naught by 2, and RMS value of thyristor current is I naught by root 2. Single phase half control rectifier or single phase semi converter. What is the requirement of single phase semi converter? Because during freewheeling period the negative spikes of voltage are removed and the current source also become zero. So in semi converter or half control rectifier we get the waveform like this for any load. For resistive and inductive loads we get such waveform because negative spikes are removed in freewheeling period. And this is the source current waveform what we achieved. As we can see that during this period the negative or positive spikes are removed of voltages and current is zero at this time period. But there are two configurations for semi converter. First one is symmetrical connection and second is asymmetrical connection. In symmetrical connection, for positive cycle T1 and D2 are turned off, turned on, and for negative cycle T2 and D1 are turned on to supply the current to the load. So in asymmetrical connection T1 and D2 and T2 and D1 are turned on for more positive and negative cycle. In the two connections there is only one change, that the cross connection of T2 and D1. So in freewheeling period either T2 D2 will conduct or T1 D1 will conduct in symmetrical connection, and in asymmetrical connection D1 and D2 only conduct in freewheeling period. So asymmetrical connection is preferred because in freewheeling only diodes are conducting. So we will give some time to share some time from thyristor. One thyristor is turning off and other one is turning on. Beyond this, some time is given to the thyristors so that there is no problem takes place in thyristor switching. If suppose one thyristor we are turning off and suddenly turning on the second thyristor and first thyristor is not turned off completely, there is a possibility of short circuit at the source side. So to avoid this we will prefer asymmetrical connection. So for both type of connections T1 D2 and T2 D1 are connected to get the output voltage waveform, and for clipping or for freewheeling period D1 D2 for asymmetrical connection and T1 D1 T2 D2 for symmetrical connection are observed in freewheeling period. So what is the problem with symmetrical connection? At alpha, pi plus alpha and 2 pi plus alpha, there is a possibility of short circuit across the supply when one thyristor is turning off and another one is turning off. So to rectify this problem, we can also use freewheeling diode in semi converter in symmetrical connection mode. Average output voltage is Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha and RMS is Vm by root 2 pi minus alpha plus half sine 2 alpha power 1 by 2. In semiconductor, conduction angle of each thyristor is pi minus alpha for every 2 pi radian, and average thyristor current is I naught into pi minus alpha by 2 pi. This is the average Thyristor current, since we assume that it is a highly inductive load, I naught is constant. So RMS current is I naught into pi minus alpha by 2 pi whole power 1 by 2. In the numerator we will put the value of how much time our thyristor is conducting, and in the denominator 2 pi is the time period of the complete cycle. And in finding RMS value we will take the under root of this. Conduction angle of freewheeling diode is pi radian for every pi radian cycle. It is alpha radian for every pi radian cycle. So for 2 pi the conduction of freewheeling diode is 2 alpha radians. Average freewheeling current is I naught alpha by pi. So alpha is the time period where freewheeling is conducting and pi is the total time period. So similarly we will find the RMS value of freewheeling diode. Source current RMS is I naught into pi minus alpha by pi. It is not alpha. It is I naught into pi minus alpha by pi whole power 1 by 2.